He defeated the man the world believed was unbeatable. Buster Douglas pulled off one of the greatest upsets in boxing history, then disappeared. Now he's back, and people can't stop talking about how different he looks. What happened to the quiet guy who made history that night? Why did he leave when everyone finally knew his name? And what's really going on with this transformation that's got everyone staring? People thought they knew his story, but Buster's big change is raising questions no one ever thought to ask. In the late 1980s, Buster was just another boxer whose name people hardly knew. He wasn't even on the heavyweight boxing radar. If you asked fans about the biggest names, Tyson is the name that would be echoed throughout the conversation. Tyson was the undisputed king of boxing. His opponents rarely lasted more than a few rounds, and fans hardly blinked when he was in the ring. Fast forward to 1990, Buster was to fight Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was still undefeated and feared by everyone. And then there was Buster Douglas, a name most people had already forgotten. The odds were 42-1 against him. Hardly anyone even bothered to watch the fight. Most thought it would be a quick win for Tyson, just another easy step toward bigger things. But then, out of nowhere, Buster did the unthinkable. And he did not just fight, but left the world stunned. After that, things didn't go as many expected. Buster slowly disappeared from the spotlight. People stopped talking about him. But now, something about his life is making people curious again. However, to fully understand Buster's story and why people are talking about him now, we need to go back to where it all started. We need to learn about his early life, his family, and how this all shaped his life. Born into a life of fight, how it all began. Before the fame and that one night that changed everything, James Buster Douglas was just a boy from Columbus, Ohio. Born on April 7, 1960. He attended Lyndon McKinley High School, where he played football and basketball. His father, Billy Dynamite Douglas, was a tough middleweight fighter who hit fast and hard. But he was very strict and not the type who handed out praises or compliments easily. He ran a gym near their house, and he introduced little Buster to boxing. Buster grew up in a tough house. His dad wasn't just a parent. He was also Buster's coach, his biggest critic, and sometimes the person he had to fight the most. People in the neighborhood would say Billy was harder on Buster than any boxing trainer ever would be. Buster trained for long hours, driven by criticism rather than comfort. However, Buster didn't dream of being a boxing champ when he was a kid. Boxing felt more like a job he had to do, not a dream he wanted to chase. What he loved was basketball. Yeah, you heard right. He was tall, fast, and smart on the court. He played well enough to earn a scholarship. First, he went to Coffeyville Community College, and later to Sinclair Community College. People who knew Buster said basketball was his escape. The boxing ring had felt like pressure from his father, but in his early 20s, he chose boxing, not because someone told him to, but because he was ready. And when he finally stepped into the ring, people started to notice. But those early days were rough. Buster wasn't the loud guy at press events. He didn't brag or trash talk like Mike Tyson, and because of that, fans didn't always notice him. He let his fists do the talking, and sometimes that just wasn't loud enough. Even in his hometown of Columbus, some people didn't take him seriously. To them, he was just Billy Douglas's son, trying to box under his dad's name. But others were starting to notice something different. Buster's punches were sharp, his footwork smooth, and he had this calm confidence. Still, nothing came easily. He had to fight for every bit of respect, headline, and chance. Even his father didn't hand him anything. Their bond was complicated. In addition, his mom, Lula Pearl, was different from his dad. She was where he found peace. She believed in him even when others didn't. While his dad was tough, she was soft and supportive. Friends say she kept him grounded. reminded him that being kind and quiet could still make you strong. Buster kept learning, growing, and getting stronger, even if no one was paying attention yet. It was like a small fire burning quietly, just waiting for the right moment to explode. Here's what people didn't see back then. All those quiet years, pressure, and pain were building something powerful inside him. And soon, the whole world was going to see what had been growing in Columbus, Ohio. All along, they said he was just a filler opponent, a stepping stone. But when the lights came on and the world was watching, Buster Douglas did something no one saw coming. Rising from the shadows, Buster Douglas took the world by surprise. On May 31st, 1981, he had his first fight, and he defeated Dan O'Malley in a 4-round bout. It was a small match on a small night, but it meant everything to Buster. And from there, he started boxing. But winning wasn't always easy. Some fights went well, others didn't. One day, people would cheer for him. Next, they'd forget his name. That's just how it was in the beginning. Buster wasn't loud. He didn't talk about the big game. And because of that, many people didn't really notice him. In 1983, Buster got a big chance. He faced Randall Tex Cobb, a tough and famous fighter. Everyone knew Cobb. This was Buster's shot to be seen, and he took it. He didn't just fight well, he won. Even though the win didn't make him a star overnight, it was the beginning of something bigger. But just as anyone who knows boxing will tell you, success is never a straight path. Just a year later, in 1984, Buster lost a fight to Mike the Giant White. Many thought Buster should have won that one. The critics didn't hold back. They said, maybe he's not cut out for the big leagues. The doubts got louder. But Buster didn't back down. Instead, he trained even harder. Between 1985 and 1987, Buster fought almost a dozen times. Some wins came easily. Others left him bruised. By 1987, Buster got a chance to fight for the IBF heavyweight title against Tony Tucker. This was huge. His first big moment in the spotlight. A fight that could change his life. For most of the match, Buster was doing great. He had Tucker on the ropes. Commentators were excited. It looked like Buster might win. But then, in the later rounds, things changed. Tucker landed some strong punches. Buster lost his rhythm. And just like that, he lost by takeout in the 10th round. It was crushing. The headlines were harsh. They said he was not ready for the top. And in no time, the boxing world moved on from him. But what people didn't see was what happened after. Buster didn't give up. He didn't quit. Instead, he got sharper, more focused. He started winning again, one fight at a time. By 1989, people started talking about Buster again. He wasn't the same fighter he was 5 years before. He was sharper, smarter, and hungrier. Then came the call that changed everything. A fight offer. Not just any fight, but a chance to face Mike Tyson, the undefeated, undisputed, unstoppable heavyweight champ. People laughed because the odds were 42-1 against Buster. He was just seen as a warm-up, someone Tyson would beat easily. No one gave him a real chance. But behind those odds was a man who had faced a loss, a man who trained alone in empty gyms and fought with heart when no one was watching. The world had no idea what was coming. How did the quiet underdog with nothing to lose walk into a ring with the world's most feared fighter and shake the planet to its core? Let's dive deeper. The night history was made. The fight took place on February 11, 1990 at Tokyo Dome in Tokyo. When Buster stepped into the ring, nobody took him seriously. The odds against him were very high. Tyson was the undisputed monster of heavyweight boxing, a knockout machine who scared the living daylights out of everyone. But there was one thing people didn't know. About a month before that fight, Buster's mother, Lula Pearl Douglas, passed away. That loss hit him hard, and her passing lit a fire inside him, something deep and personal. And he didn't see the fight as one for just a title. It was a fight to prove he could rise from heartbreak and maybe even silence all the doubters. From the very first bell, Douglas didn't look like a guy ready to get steamrolled. He came out smart, throwing sharp jabs, moving with surprising speed, and refusing to back down. Tyson, the feared beast, looked slower than usual. Something felt off. Douglas was mixing it up, landing punches, and making Tyson work for every second. By round 5, whispers started spreading. Was Buster hanging in there? Then came the jaw-dropping moment in round 8. Tyson landed a brutal uppercut that sent Douglas crashing down. Most people expected the fight to end right there. But Buster pushed himself up, and by round 9, he was better. The later rounds showed a different story. Buster grew stronger and more confident, and in round 10, he delivered a powerful combination that ended it all. Tyson went down and struggled to get up, but the referee's count hit 10. Just like that, Buster Douglas became the new heavyweight champion of the world. The world was stunned. Commentators couldn't believe their eyes, and right there, history was made. Many believed it was a fluke, others chalked it up to luck, but most were speechless. The underdog no one expected had pulled off the biggest upset in boxing history. After the fight, Buster gave a memorable speech. "I don't have to prove anything to anybody. I proved it to myself." He also dedicated the win to his late mother, showing just how much that loss fueled him inside the ring. That fight made him about $3 million. He became a global superstar and signed endorsement deals with companies like Nike, Sega, and Coca-Cola. Sega even released a video game called Buster Douglas Knockout Boxing. It was a massive payday, especially for someone who had been underestimated for years. That fight changed everything for him, even if the world still wasn't quite ready for what came next. He tried to capitalize on the win, but fame always comes with expectations. Everyone wanted to be sure he could do it again. They wanted him to prove his win wasn't just by luck, and they wanted a rematch, which never happened. Tyson Camp claimed the referee gave Buster a longer count during his knockout in round 8. It didn't end there. Promoters demanded the fight be overturned, but after a proper investigation, Buster was declared the rightful champion. To some, he was just a lucky winner, but those who understand boxing know Buster is a man who has proved no fighter is unbeatable, and with determination and discipline, even the impossible can be achieved. After shaking the world, he vanished without a trace. People expected Buster to rise to new heights and dominate the division after the fight. All eyes were on him after this great achievement. But Buster's reign as champion lasted only 8 months. On October 25, 1990, he faced Evander Holyfield in Las Vegas to defend his title. Unlike the incredible fight against Tyson, this match showed a very different Douglas. He stepped into the ring weighing about 246 pounds, significantly heavier than during his Tyson fight when he was closer to 231 pounds. The extra weight wasn't just physical, it symbolized the struggles he had been facing. From the opening bell, it was clear that Buster lacked the sharpness and speed that had powered him to victory in Tokyo. Holyfield was quicker and more focused. After just 3 rounds, Holyfield delivered a brutal right hand that knocked Buster out cold. The fight was over in a flash, and just like that, Buster lost the title. The media didn't hold back. Many said Buster was the shortest reigning heavyweight champion in decades. Critics called him lazy and out of shape. Fans who had cheered his stunning upset now called him a flash in the pan. The pressure to prove he was no one-hit wonder had crushed him. But no one talked about what he was dealing with behind the scenes. The sudden fame and spotlight brought heavy burdens. Just weeks before the Tyson fight, Buster had lost his mother, a devastating blow that left him heartbroken and emotionally shaken. In the months following the Holyfield defeat, Buster struggled publicly and privately. His weight ballooned. Reports say he tipped the scales at over 400 pounds at his heaviest. His health was at risk, and there were rumors he was depressed. The same man who had once stunned the world now seemed to be fading away. Eventually, he disappeared from the ring and the media. For nearly 6 years, the boxing world saw very little of him. Some said he was finished. Others said he was broken, ashamed, or even lost. The comeback no one saw coming. On June 27, 1996, after nearly 6 years away from the ring, Buster made his highly anticipated return to the ring against Tony La Rosa. During that time, many questioned if he still had it in him, doubting it because he was 36 years old, and he was considered old for a heavyweight boxer trying to reclaim his place at the top. From the opening rounds, La Rosa used his jab and longer reach to keep Buster at a distance. Buster, aware of his age and the need to prove himself, showed patience and determination. He worked his way inside, slipping punches and looking for openings. The fight lasted for only 3 rounds, with both exchanging punches. After dodging a right hand from La Rosa, he closed the distance quickly and landed a series of powerful punches, forcing the ringside physician to stop the fight. The fight ended with Buster knocking him down with a strong left hook, which declared Buster the winner by knockout. This victory shocked many, and once again, Buster had proven he still had power and skill despite the years away and the criticism about his age. However, it didn't stop there. Following the win against La Rosa, he fought actively over the next 3 years. Between 1996 and 1999, he participated in numerous fights, achieving a mix of wins and losses. He beat names like Lou Savarese and Rocky Papelli. While he never again reached the heights of his Tyson upset, he showed impressive resilience. He faced young and hungry fighters, but demonstrated experience and determination in every fight. His comeback fights kept him in the public eye and reminded fans and critics alike that Buster was not ready to retire quietly. However, the toll of years in the ring and past injuries affected his performance, and by 1999, he decided to retire officially from boxing. His career record stood at 38 wins, 6 losses, and 1 draw. Behind the fame and the comebacks, what personal battles was Buster hiding from the world? The hidden struggles and the transformation that's causing stir. Behind the spotlight, Buster was going through battles most people never saw. His body, once built for the ring, was breaking down. Years of training, fighting, and taking punches had left lasting damage. Our once world heavyweight champion is now struggling to climb the stairs. Yeah, you heard right. It was that bad. In the early 2000s, Buster fell into a diabetic coma. Many thought he was dead, and the rumors then weren't helping either. Some said he had passed away due to poor dieting and depression. Even doctors thought he wouldn't survive it. Fortunately, the rumors were not true. He was given another chance at life. He woke up to a new reality and a warning from doctors. If he didn't change some habits, there wouldn't be another chance. This time, the fight was for his future. That was Buster's wake-up call. The same man who once knocked out Mike Tyson was now lying in a hospital bed, fighting for his life. Not in the ring, but in the real world. He started making changes. He began eating better, moving more. Not to get back in the spotlight, but to stay alive. To live for the people who mattered. It wasn't easy. At his heaviest, Buster weighed over 400 pounds. But he didn't quit. Pound by pound, he fought his way back. There was no title belt waiting for him this time. But this fight meant more than any he'd had in the ring. It was about surviving and becoming whole again. He also turned his focus to his family. For years, boxing had pulled him away with training camps, travel, and pressure. But now, he had time. He reconnected with his kids. He showed up. He became a father in every sense. Not just someone who gave advice, but someone who lived it. He told his sons that real strength isn't about landing the biggest punch, it's about rising when life knocks you down. Today, people are talking about Buster Douglas again, but not just because he beat Tyson. It's how different he looks now that's got everyone talking. He's thinner, quieter, and looks like he's been through a lot. His speech is noticeably slower, and he's having difficulty moving. Fans say he seems calm, like he's finally found peace. Others say he looks like a man who's carrying old pain, and maybe they're both right. Interviews with Buster in recent years show a man who isn't as sharp as he once was, more like he is fighting something deep inside, stuff no one could see. Maybe it's the pain of being forgotten, or something deeper. When fans look at him now, they don't just see a fighter, they see someone who's lived through real struggle. They wonder, what did that one big win really cost him? And what happened to the Buster we all thought we knew? What happens when the fighting gloves came off? How does a man who shook the world live today? And what legacy does he leave behind for future generations? Present life and legacies. After hanging up his gloves in 1999, Buster went back into his very private life. And he's now living a modest life. He simply stepped away from the ring on his terms. The man who once shook the boxing world walked away quietly, just as he had arrived. But retirement didn't mean disappearance. Buster may have left the ring, but he never stopped fighting for a purpose. In the years following his official retirement, Buster turned his attention to something deeper than titles and belts: legacy. He became a mentor to young fighters and an advocate for second chances. Working with community programs, especially in Columbus, Ohio, Buster gave back in a way that felt personal. He showed up at schools and gyms, not as a celebrity, but as someone who had seen both sides of fame. He talked to kids about discipline, health, and the dangers of letting success or failure define who you are. One of his most notable contributions came through his work with youth boxing initiatives. He co-founded training programs that focused not just on athletic skills, but on life skills. These weren't just about throwing punches. They were about learning how to stand tall, control anger, and respect oneself and others. Buster believed in giving young people tools to fight life's battles long before they ever stepped into a ring. He also lent his name and time to various charitable causes, including diabetes awareness, especially after his near-fatal diabetic coma in the early 2000s. That scare changed his outlook on health, and he began speaking publicly about the importance of wellness, particularly in underserved communities. Despite all his efforts, Buster never enjoyed the kind of financial security that many of his contemporaries did. Buster lived modestly. There were no lavish mansions or flashy sports cars. He made smart choices with what he had, but boxing hadn't gifted him the endless riches some expected after the Tyson upset. Buster's life today is quiet. He still lives in Ohio, not far from where he grew up. Family is his anchor now. He spends time with his children and grandchildren, enjoying the everyday moments that fame once pulled him away from. Over the years, his story has been shared in books, documentaries, and even classrooms. ESPN featured him in specials like 30 for 30, and boxing historians still point to his win over Tyson as one of the greatest upsets in sports history. But Buster's legacy is about more than one night. Yes, he may not be the first name that comes to mind when people talk about great boxers. He's not celebrated globally like Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, or Manny Pacquiao. He doesn't appear in commercials or headline celebrity boxing events. But forgetting Buster Douglas? That would be a mistake, because his story holds something those bigger names can't always claim: humility, humanity, and quiet perseverance. He showed the world that even if you fall after your greatest moment, you can still rise again and again without needing a stage. So, while the world may continue to chant the names of Ali, Tyson, Mayweather, and Holyfield, there's another name that deserves to echo in the corners of history: Buster Douglas. What do you think of Buster's story? Was it life that didn't give him a shot at being bigger? Or did he taste fame once and decide it wasn't worth chasing again? Outro. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you enjoyed this video, click on the next video on your screen.